Parked in the heart of downtown Atlanta is a place where some of the greatest names in college football can be found. It's where the likes of Knute Rockne, Paul Bryant, Roger Staubach, and Herschel Walker, and a host of others are held in high reverence. Most of all, it's a place of celebration. The College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia is out to tackle the concept of the conventional museum.
Get around all the way, Zach.
Here, you won't find vast rooms filled with idle exhibits. The minds behind this attraction leverage cutting-edge technology.
So who do you think is going to win the big game?
Well, there's ED to be exact. It's a no-brainer.
With the genuine love of sports.
This is the most interactive and the most current Hall of Fame that's out there.
To create a fully immersive journey through the history of college football. Visitors to this venue don't just sit on the sidelines. There's a 47-yard indoor football field and a performance area where guests can see how their pigskin skills stack up. With more than 50 interactive exhibits and 5 themed galleries all spread across 3 levels, sports fans can see, hear, and feel their way to gridiron glory. So how do you go about marketing an experiential concept? Well, that's where Dennis Adamovich comes into play. A veteran of the ever-dynamic sports marketing space, he's the subject of today's Executive Profiles.
Grew up in Detroit. You're a Detroit kid first originally, right?
Born and raised in Detroit. Ended up in Florida and did my education in Florida, the University of South Florida. Originally was going to be in biology as going to med school there at the University of South Florida, but I always recognized that marketing was kind of sitting in the past there, and always had a passion around sports marketing, even back then. Switched my degree, went into marketing, and ended up in the agency space. Was in the right place at the right time. I was working on the Cadillac dealers business for the local region, and they started the Senior PGA Tour. So my first taste of entertainment was actually being the guy helping the East Coast leg of the Senior PGA Tour, working with the players, putting them in the cars, making sure they had marketing programs in all those local markets, and never looked back. From there, McCann Erickson asked if I would be interested in a position at working on the Coca-Cola business.
Got it.
Moved me to Atlanta 25 years ago, and in the process, 6 months later, a gentleman by the name of Walter Dunn, who was iconic at Coca-Cola, asked if I would come in and work in the entertainment division, leisure entertainment division. A gentleman by the name of Steve Koonin entered my life. He became my boss, and we recreated and redefined what entertainment was at the Coca-Cola business and how we would activate those brands. Probably one of the most notable pieces was I worked on the Disney business. Steve reformulated what that would look like on a worldwide basis and asked for me to manage that and recreate what refreshment meant in theme parks and attractions.
So then you moved from one major Atlanta player to another major Atlanta player.
Right. Turner came knocking on the door. And
had Steve already gone over to Turner at that point?
Steve was already at TNT at the time.
Right.
But I came over into Cartoon Network. They were looking for somebody to head up marketing and brand and do it in a unique new way. And I went out and created comedy festivals and created unique partnerships with people outside of our business on totally separate businesses built within. And then took that learning to TNT and then over to Turner Classic Movies.
So you've been able to go from being just doing product branding now to being this interaction with a human being on a personal level, trying to get people to show up to an event.
And pay.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's no better form of flattery than if you have a brand and people are going to pay to come and experience it. And that really is, when you look at the building blocks and the stepping stones that got me to where I am with a College Football Hall of Fame, it is taking and growing audiences against a fabulous brand, which in this case is the College Football Hall of Fame and college football fans. I truly believe us getting the Hall into Atlanta was a huge accomplishment for our city, and us being the epicenter, I believe, of college football for all things football. It's fabulous, and it's customized for you when you walk in the door. We have unique technology that syncs you up from a registration into the experience. So no matter what college you're from, it pulls all of that content, all of that experience to you.
What are some of your early takeaways about the place that maybe you didn't recognize before you took the role that you've recognized now that are both the good things and the things you want to improve upon?
You know, when you walk into a position like this, you're always wondering, is the product what it needs to be?
Right.
Is the experience what it needs to be? And 95% of the people that come through the hall say it's more than they ever anticipated.
Right.
So that is a fabulous. That tells you people love our experience, the product is right, it's more than what they're in, that they truly thought it was going to be. So that's the fabulous part.
Right.
I think on the other side of that is we just got to get more people into the hall.
Right.
Because once they come in, they become our broadcast towers, they become our advocates, and they tell their friends.
The Centennial Park District used to be called the Lucky Marietta District. That whole corridor, all that's going on between Centennial Olympic Park, where you are, it's changing by the day. How do you see that shaping up in the years to come, and how's that going to help impact the hall?
For us specifically, for the College Football Hall of Fame Chick-fil-A fan experience, is they are taking the chamber building and they're taking that down and opening that entire vista. So where we were blocked from the park from a view standpoint, we're going to be a wide open vista. The sidewalk is going to come to our front door. So we're very excited about where they're trying to where they're going with the park and what it's going to mean for us.
The College Football Hall of Fame gets to live in the center of the history of the sport. But the sport continues to evolve. This constant change and movement going on within college football on a yearly basis, we hear about it. How does that impact what you present in terms of the content for the hall?
The majority of our attraction is digitally driven, and our content that is brought to you and customized to you is all digitally driven. So we're in a constant refresh mode to make sure that hall is up to date, and as things evolve, we'll continue to evolve with it. I think it's only opportunity because it just creates more programming for who we are and what we mean.
So when you go, if you were going to program your chip to be for a certain team, what team would you program it for your own tour?
I have two daughters. One that's been at University of Georgia for 3 years, Lauren, and my youngest daughter was just accepted into the University of Georgia.
Congratulations.
So they always say, wherever your money goes is typically where you're the biggest fan.
Agreed.
So I'm a big University of Georgia fan.
Adamovich and his team continue to push the boundaries of the fan experience. Fans can dive deeper into action via the new AT&T Virtual Stadium. Virtual headgear uses the Oculus Rift-based technology to put fans right in the middle of game day action, all with 360-degree views. The exhibit, which will be updated annually, will feature some of college football's greatest rivalries. Next, no matter your thoughts on gambling, one thing that cannot be denied is the impact the Georgia Lottery has on education. We go by the numbers to see why, win or lose, students come out on top.